Welcome to Coach's Corner, everybody. I'm Coach Lyndon.
I'm M.
Amy.
And I'm Coach Debbie. and I'm Coach Debbie.
Where we help people change their relationship with fitness. Just share what we know with what hopefully it helps you. If you like this video, like it, share it, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Because everything we do or share here is for the betterment of our community and for anyone who's listening. So help us spread the word. Okay, that was funny. Today was an interesting day, at least for me so far. And it's only halfway over. Huh?
Oh, it's almost 12.
Yeah, it's halfway over. I want to say, plain and simple, we should make sure, I did want to talk about something different, but I feel like we're supposed to talk about, I like to call it the aha moment. The thing that made you, like this is talking about purpose, but a little bit differently. There's a moment where you turn the page and you start to do things differently, and you have to know it. It took me some reflection to know what those moments are. But I usually know around what that moment is. Like, you know you're turning the corner in this period of your life. Makes you start thinking about it. So, if you know your aha moment, please share it, and let's go around. And then let's talk about the importance of understanding your purpose. Physically, mentally, and spiritually. What did that for you?
So just the aha moment first.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Am I starting?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, I think there's a few. Like when I do a lot of reflection on like, I like to call it chapters or seasons of my life. And I think if I were to journal, it'd be in like book format with like titles of each chapter. Sure. But when I look back, it is like a small thing. Like someone will say a small thing and that changes your entire life. You're like, oh, what? I think I've had a few aha moments. My most recent would probably be with you. Like, I think a lot of the change that I made here was based off of the aha moment of, I've talked about it before. He said to me, if you're standing still, what are you standing for? If you're running, what are you running towards, or what are you running from? And that sounds like a small thing, and it is. But I think where I was spinning my wheels without getting anywhere, and feeling like every new year that came up, like this is a milestone for me. Like even last New Year, I felt like I didn't move the needle. And I hear, everyone does those YouTube videos, or like if you have a channel on, on anything, they're like, oh yeah, this is what I did this year, or this was my New Year's resolution last year, and look where I am now. And I never tracked that, so I wasn't able to measure any success. And I think it was because I was spinning my gears. I was running, but I never really took stock of like what I was running. If I was running from anything, am I like able to name it? If I'm running towards anything, like, is it intentional? So that got me thinking about those things. And it got me thinking about, why am I running? Like, can I stand still? And if I do stand still, why does it feel bad? Probably because I feel stagnant. And then you put out the perspective of, it's not stagnation, it's standing on something for, it's standing your ground for once. And I was like, oh yeah. So if you knew me before and you know me now, and you see like I'm talking different, I'm setting more boundaries for myself, that's coming from that seed of an idea of standing for something, having principles and being able to name them, being able to walk them out, That's it.
Heard. Woo! Aha moment. I think for me, the one that I'll talk about is probably when I first started to do any healing work. I knew that there was a problem, and I kind of just ignored it. Sometimes I wouldn't, right? Or I'd be like, yeah, they definitely have problems, but I'm not gonna fix them. But I really remember and it was really by myself. I was crying. I was sitting on the floor at my house with my partner at the time in the kitchen. I was on the floor crying in the kitchen, and I was convinced that no one was happy everyone was faking it, and that like I couldn't do it anymore. I was like, I'm not fucking happy every day. I'm faking it, and I'm convinced that no one is fucking happy and everyone is lying, and how are they doing it? So I think that felt like maybe like a rock bottom moment, right? That from there, I think I was like, well, I got to do something about that, because I don't actually believe that everybody is faking it, but I know that I am, right? And that was, I think, what hit so hard, is that like, you know, it was like in that moment easier for me to believe that it's all a fucking lie than that maybe I'm just like sad. Oh, that's like maybe.
that is what it is. Everyone sucks.
Right. So, yeah, and then, you know, I'd say like a more positive aha moment I had is when I went to Africa. And in like the first 3 days, I was like, yo, I'm carrying a lot of my bullshit everywhere I go, aren't I? Like all of this, all the time. Like I'm carrying all of my baggage, everything that made me feel bad, more than good. And I think that was like the other aha moment where I was like, wow, I could just let it go. I could lighten my load so immediately. And it was like so weird that I had to travel so far to like do nothing really, you know, like I didn't do anything different other than like look at something from a different perspective and be like, oh, wow, yeah, maybe I could let that shit go that happened so long ago that I'm like bringing along with me to like, well, don't forget this, you know, I've got like a 7-piece matching luggage set that I like, look at it, isn't it?
All despair.
Yeah, like.
It's the despair collection.
Yeah, I'd say those were my biggest aha moments that brought about real change, like that I saw. Because after that, then, you know, it's people being like, wow, you really come a long way, huh? Like, oh, you're really doing a lot better, is what I started hearing from people who were close to me and that could see that, where they're like, no, we see it. Because I didn't really...
You're like, is it?
Yeah, you know, I was like...
I thought I was hiding. I thought I was
hiding. I thought I was doing it in the dark.
I was telling Emily the other day, I said the faces.
Yo, stop doing that.
People are like,
Yo, I'm dead.
Are you tired? No, I'm fine. like while you do that, and then eventually you stop doing that, but you're so used to the twitch, you're still doing it, so you don't think it looks different. They'll be like, no, you're not. Your face isn't covered in tears. You're not frowned up. You don't look old anymore. The bags aren't there anymore. You are. There's a change.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes it does take someone else to kind of notice it, especially when you're always working on being better. So that's the spirit works.
Oh boy.
You're up.
I feel like I've had a lot of aha moments. I would say the last year is a big aha moment, but I will say that there was one day in here, it was New Year's, we were doing Turkish get-ups. I was pretty new here. We had to do with water.
I remember this.
Yeah. What?
I just said it's humbling to do it with water.
Oh yeah, it was a good time. I was real wet. And eventually I was like, man, this is gonna go poorly. And I didn't want to keep getting wet. And it definitely triggered me. And you were like yelling some shit in the corner, trying to motivate people, and I was taking it real personal. And I was just like,
Yeah.
But I do remember this even more. Okay, all right. I do remember.
Because I remember
this more.
talking with you being like, he wasn't yelling. You were like, he was yelling! And I was like, he wasn't yelling though. But I feel like I've been in similar situations where you're yelling, but like, I'm not yelling at all. No one's yelling.
I'm talking. You're yelling.
you know, that Usher voice would really help, you know, lacrosse leg. So glad we all remember that. And
I don't remember it the way you said it, but I do remember.
I don't remember it probably as vividly, but I do remember this day now because I
remember.
I was right next to you.
Yeah, you were
So.
there. There you were, which was also like, so it was really embarrassing because I didn't know you that well. But also, even though we know each other for a long
I was
time.
about to say, what?
I didn't know.
Even though
yeah.
we've known each other for 20 plus years.
We know each other for 20 plus years, but I didn't know you that well. And so, whatever. So I'm in this space. I'm kind of new. And I was still, like, obviously, y'all know what I was dealing with at the time in my trauma recovery process. And so I started feeling myself slip into, like, a total trigger shutdown state. And I felt it happening, but I couldn't do anything about it. And I was sitting there, and I was like, ugh, and feeling that, where you're like aware that you are having the thing, but you're also like, I can't do anything about the thing. I'm just watching myself, and then you get even more upset about it because that's what you're doing. And you're like, that's not what I want to do, and I'm doing it. There I am doing it, and yeah.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
the face.
exactly-
Yeah, the yucky face. And but it was also embarrassing enough that like I had to like, I don't know if I did, maybe I got a block or something, or I did without the water or something. I was like, man, everybody's really expecting me to get back in there. I was just like, I can't even fucking move. And then afterwards, after I had thoroughly shamed myself in the corner, you gave me a hug. And
Why? The U was drawn like this. Subtitles on that gonna be.
yeah, so in my how it felt to me, it was like you're telling me like I'm not good enough, and now you want to give me a hug, and I totally just felt all this shame, and you still want to give me a hug, and I don't even know you, and that was really nice and comforting, and I cried. And then I mean, believe it or not, I don't cry in front of people until this year. So now
I don't until this year.
now I
Because you
cry.
started the new year with a cry in front of everybody,
Yeah.
that sets the tone.
I grew up knowing, I grew up knowing not to cry in front of people, and
Same.
for so many reasons, but I was also told not to. So I was decently good at not crying in front of people. Fun fact that you won't believe. And I did cry in here that day. And okay, so you obviously like held the space, and that was cool. And I was like, well, that's interesting. And I let that happen. Like I didn't just be like, mad, because that could have been an
Oh,
old.
you were mad. I remember this day. You were very upset.
I was upset, but like I also let
wanted
you.
to say things like
I also let you give me a hug, and that was more than I would have done in the past. And then though, I also went over there where you were, and maybe Kay, and I don't know some other people who else, but I remember you and Kay in particular for some reason. But you were real nice, and you're like, did you just get triggered or something like that? Like, I got CPTSD too, and I was like, yeah. And then everyone was just like treating it so normal, like,
So normal in here.
Did you just have a trigger? No big deal. And I was like, the people.
Is it your
What is
first
this
time?
I was like, there's people who talk about that. Do
First
people
time in
talk?
public?
You all, first time.
Yeah.
Yes,
First time in
actually.
public, yeah.
My
Here's the
first
ginger
time
chew.
in
Would you like a
public.
ginger chew?
Yes, I did. Did one ginger.
Cleanses the palate.
Yeah, it was my first time. It was really my first time out of the house in like literally 4 years when I came here. So
What?
yeah,
In a bunker?
Yeah, a little bit.
Trapped in a bunker
It was a
somewhere?
little bit like a bunker, yeah. And so, okay. So it was really special to me and eye-opening that there was a place, like when I came here, I was like, whoa, this is different. But also that.
It's gonna suck.
Yeah, I
It
did.
didn't
I did
suck.
come here like, this is going to suck, but I'm going to go. At least I said I did it. I tried. Then I came here, I was like, oh,
How
what?
many people have walked through this door and said us?
I just assumed that about
I'll try
everything.
it out. Now they're here.
I assume it about
Now they're
everything.
stuck.
Well, if you hear a story, a certain, like we were talking about Jazz earlier. If you hear Jazz's story, she literally had heard so many bad things about.
Oh
her.
yeah,
Yeah.
facts.
And when she showed up, she was like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna try. And she's like, oh, he's pretty cool. Why is he so cool?
It's not like
Does
any
he
of the stories
I
I
know
heard.
about him. Like
Yeah.
it was like the narrative was pushed.
She
right?
didn't know.
Well, she knew what she heard.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
knew what
She
she
didn't
heard.
know about me as a
Right.
human being, right? And what was funny was
Message.
when it came down to it, what they were told wasn't true at all.
Yeah.
It was just something that was being said out of a place of negativity, right? And I will applaud anyone who takes the time out to look at a narrative and really find out for themselves. That's an admirable trait. Not everyone's willing to do that. Well, if you don't like it, I'm not going.
I think
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah, just go
should
based
do
off
that.
of someone else's opinion.
Everybody, Amy was like, I saw the post. I was like, damn, that looked fun. Amy was like, yeah, it's great. I was
You're like, is it okay if I go?
Yeah, can I go
I
to
can't
your
count how
gym?
many people that were like, is
I know,
it
you
fine
said
if I
that.
go? I was like, it's a
You
open
said
space.
that. Well,
It's
looking
your
back,
gym.
I'm like,
No,
that
there's
is
so many
weird.
people
but
like
at
that,
the time,
though,
it
that wanna
represented
claim a
where I was
space.
at. Like,
Yeah.
it was definitely where I was
Will
at.
you
like,
feel upset
hey,
if I
you
go?
seem pretty cool, and I don't want to get in your way. So, like, is it okay for me to exist? Like, that was kind of what I was asking.
This
And
bitch
now I'm
came to
like,
my gym.
oh, you're a human being, and I'm a human being, and this is a space for human beings.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's
Yep.
interesting.
Like, usually businesses do better when more people go to them.
Hey, I'm dead. I'm
Like,
dead.
straight up business model.
weird.
We only want 5 people. You're number 6.
A select 5.
We put you on the list.
Yeah.
You see this bottle? How it's empty? You'll be when you leave because we're gonna take everything.
I was like,
Yo,
and then I
empty
did
out.
come here, like, just to be out there. And I was like, trying not to, like, bug you. I was like, I'm in the space that you're in, but I'm not gonna bug you because I don't want you to think I'm annoying. You were like, okay.
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
And this is just because I've never asked. I'm kind of curious. The first day you came was my birthday, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that had to have all types of implications in your mind based on things and like other like your first boyfriend having the same birthday as me.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Right. Okay. And then you coming here and there were pizza in the back.
There was pizza and
in
cake.
The gym where we cared about
Pizza and
fitness,
cake.
Right. Like there was so many triggers that had to be part.
Wait, that
of
was your
that.
first day here?
Yeah, it was the day Ashley was helping to celebrate.
Oh.
Yeah, I met her in the parking lot first.
Yeah, before she came in, she met Ashley.
I didn't know who the hell she was. I was like, you need help? Okay, great.
Mad interesting, right?
Yeah, it was funny.
Right, I put that together. I was like, huh. It was actually really cool.
Yeah, I don't know if it was definitely unexpected. I think I knew it was your birthday ahead of time. Did I know it was your birthday?
No, I
'Cause
I
you-
have no idea.
You said, I feel like,
I definitely
because I
didn't know
reached
that
out
was
to
happening.
you, you told me to come to class. I had asked because it was intermediate day and I was new. And you're like, yeah, just come out, whatever. Like, did you say we're having a party afterwards? Or
didn't know.
maybe I got here and then I found, I don't know.
It's a
It
surprise
did
party,
walk
yeah.
the pizza and wings in, so that might have been how you.
I
knew.
did-
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't tell you because I didn't know. I didn't know what Ashley
okay.
was doing. It was a regular teaching day to me, and then she's like, "We're celebrating him as a like that's how it was. I had no idea what.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, for any misconceptions for anyone watching this, raise your hand if you struggled showing emotions and crying in public at some point in your life. That's it. All right, continue.
Yeah.
Because you were like, you probably won't believe me, but
Well, no, I think it's fucking hilarious because of how much I subsequently, after my aha moment day, have cried here. I was like, oh, it's safe to cry here? Nobody's shaming me or freaking out or looking away in disgust.
Ah, that girl is crying
just hit
again.
the drape.
They're like, oh, you too? Cool. Yeah, I totally get it. What?
Tell me about yourself.
I was like, y'all want to, and yeah, then it started. People want to know who I was and like actually who I was.
You're like, ugh.
You sit down in the corner, you're like,
and didn't want
and then
me to
someone's
shut the
like-
fuck up.
What do you do for a living?
You want me to? You want me to not shut the fuck up? That's weird. And then you with the sales guy.
Me?
This guy over here was like, hey, have you heard? Because it was your birthday party. So you were like, hey, you know, we got other stuff here. And you're like listing out the class schedule. And I was like, yeah, you know, because I had been, to get here, I was like, is it okay if I go to class on this one night a week because it'll just only be for an hour? And like, do you mind if I am not home? Because I know how I have to be home all the time, but like, is this okay to do? And I was so worried about it. And then you were like, listing the classes off. And I was like, well, I can only I can't go all the time. And you were like, something up to the effect of like, oh, because I was telling about my family and why I had to be there all the fucking time. And you were like, sounds like you're doing a lot for people. And I was like, yeah, that's just what I do. And you were like, what are you doing for yourself?
I was like, yo, I know where this is going. I was like, I don't remember this, but this, I know what I'm about to say.
One of my best bits.
I know what I'm about to say.
It was a great bit, but I had no fucking answer for you.
Yeah.
You're like, but what are you doing for yourself? And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean do for myself? I came here today for myself, and like, I'll see you never. Because I used my points for leaving the house.
I used all my points.
Yeah, I'm all out of points.
I used up my points.
I got 4 in-house.
I've taken up
years
too much
of
space.
Points saved up.
I don't want other people to know I exist.
One class. I was like, Shannon getting a way better deal.
Yeah, I used up all my class pass credits, So, so it was interesting. But that was the first day. My aha moment was more maybe they were both.
I like it.
I'm done now.
You gave 2.
I'm just going to
Yeah, that was
You
fire.
gave 2.
Right.
I didn't think you were gonna talk today.
I didn't either.
Podcast,
I was
but I'm
really
glad-
planning to
that
not.
was lit.
I was planning not to talk.
Are you talking?
Not today.
There was a time in my life.
There was. There was.
You guys want to know about me?
And the reason I'm not talking is eternal sins. All right. So we all shared, except you shared your aha moment just before this. Was the camera on?
It was off camera.
The camera wasn't
Yeah.
on. If you didn't hear, you missed it out.
You missed it out.
You missed
I
it.
can give a different one.
Way to go.
Give it a different one.
Yeah, I got plenty of
Tell the
aha
same
moments.
story verbatim again.
What story?
I don't want to
same
hear it
one.
twice. I already heard. This is the 3rd time I heard it today. It'd be crazy.
That was my second, but let's go for fresh material. We need some fresh material. Switch it up.
It was just me, my conscience, and a bottle of liquor.
The liquor.
Not the liquor.
Not the liquor.
Not the liquor.
But that's not what I was.
I was like, that's the story. All
That's
right.
no, I actually do have that. As a
Yeah,
story.
you do.
Okay,
That's not,
one of my biggest aha moments. I told one. Another one was I had lived a certain lifestyle before I started to take care of myself. My daughter was born. She wasn't my aha moment. My aha moment became after I realized that I had to take care of a small person. So I was at a party, I was hanging out, and we were doing stuff, and I was like, my friends were like, oh, you wanna do this, you wanna do that? I'm like, oh, I'm pretty good. So I'm just watching. And I had never really been to a party completely sober before. So I was sitting at this party and I was just like, this shit trash.
Garbage.
I was like, what are we doing? Right? Like, and then my boy was like, yo, we about to go outside. I was like, all right. So we went outside and we hung out. And he said, yo, you look like you're not having no fun. I said, this is boring, dog. Like, we really sitting here. I was like, yeah, y'all been sitting on that same couch for 2 hours. You know what y'all talking about? Hairpins, childbirth, and yellow tickets. Those were the things. Do you know how crazy that sounds, just me saying that like that? Right? So I'm like, I wasn't really talking about much at all. And he said, man, it sounds like you don't want to be a part of it. And that was my triggered moment where I was like, oh, maybe I really don't.
Yeah.
Like, that was wild trash. Like, I don't want to have to pretend I want to be doing something I don't want to do. And again, Lauren was born. I had to run in the house. So I really was thinking about going back home to help Ash because I felt bad that I even said I'm going out. So that moment was a moment for me to go, yeah, I really don't want to be here, son. I'd rather be at home with a baby yelling in my face. Lauren didn't know. But it was one of those things where like I was thinking about that. Like I'd rather my daughter be screaming, crying than dealing with y'all whining, crying. Right? Like I'd rather deal with the baby with all this. So that moment led me to realize that I had to change my life, and I made a lot of change in that space. If I had to give another one, because we all gave basically we gave two. Number two. Number two would be with you. Number two would be with we've all had our moments that were aha moments for me, to be completely honest. But I use Devin because Devin was the first one to show me that he believed in the dream as much as I did. So that was an aha moment for me. I wasn't sure if what I was doing was working. I had a ton of doubt. I kept trying to do it. It wasn't going well. This is the same year that I opened the space with 5 people and none of it worked. So I was just like, maybe I'm not meant to do this at all. Maybe I jumped the boat, right? Like doubt creeps in. It's funny how I think a lot of people don't think you have doubt because you keep going, but you do. And I would say, honestly, your inner critic speaks louder than most because of the scale of the thing you're trying to do, which is why so many people don't do those things. So I remember that. We've talked about that on camera before. And I just was like, I had no idea what I was walking into when Devin sat me down that day at Joppa. I had no clue where that was going. And I remember, like, while you talked, it was like a wave of calm. And I was like, damn, he's really trying to tell me what he sees versus, fuck you, fuck this place, and I'm out, right? Which is what I had been used to in so many different ways. Like, not to rag on anyone who was involved previously, but to talk about it because we're setting it up. The last time I had been in a meeting like that, I was literally ambushed, and more than half the people were just like, we're out, found our own space, we're leaving. And I was just like, so y'all didn't want to tell me this, or like go over this with me, or even like I had no way in, it was just out. So I was used to that being rough, to be completely fair. So when you told me, I remember I was like, I just said, let me explain why. And then when we did, I think that gave you your calm. You were like, yo, this dude really didn't respond, like, fuck you. It was more like oh, okay, this is why. Why didn't I think of that? Like, I think that's more what it was for you. It was an aha moment for you as well. And I picked that because of that. I picked that because even when people tell me that I say things that impact them, most of the time I don't think we really understand that you have the same impact, right? Like I literally think you create deep connection via vulnerability and nothing else. So until you say, hey, I need help, and allow someone to help you, you will not find close people to you. You won't find people who want to bond with you.
I said that shit this morning.
Yeah, it's so hard. You can try, but to be completely honest, until you allow me to help you, it's gonna be very hard for us to be close. Right? Because that's vulnerable. Once you make yourself vulnerable to me, that's where I can show you if I am who I say I am. So that's the moment I chose. Damn.
That might be it.
Like we ate the time.
Yeah.
That's it.
How's
We rock that.
Rest for Friday.
They don't all gotta be,
big bangers?
Yeah, they don't all gotta be crazy.
I think a lot of the times what you can take away from it is the simple fact that aha moments are not moments that have to be major light bulb moments, but they can be moments that shift your thinking enough to where you know you need to make a change, right? We were talking about, and we'll bring up Jazz again, we were talking about Jazz and how I told her like it's similar to what you was talking about when you said I called you petty, but I was talking because I'll see something and I'll just be like, nah, that's that, right? And like most people are like, nah, and then later you think about it, you're like, well, I'm not really that, but I am. And then it becomes, and again, I'm not doing that for that. I'm just doing it because I see it, so I say it, right? So when Jess was talking to me, I was like, yeah, you got anger issues, for sure. And she was like, no, I don't. I said, yes, you do. And then she tried to convince me. She tried to bully me a little bit to get me to convince me. I was like, I don't give a shit what you say. You still have anger issues, right? And I saw the gears turning, and we had an hour conversation after that. And it wasn't about that, but you could tell she was like, I really do push people away. So it was interesting when you told me that we had that talk the next day, because she needs to talk about it, right? She needs to see people not leaving. She needs to see that her vulnerability creates those connections she's looking for. I think of her and Garth, because they both lost their mothers at different times. And they're trying to create new connections and make new family, but they don't want to be vulnerable to do it, right? Got to show up with that bravado. I don't care about you being tough. I care about you letting me in, right? If we're gonna be close, right? So how tough you are doesn't really matter to me. It matters that you're willing to be vulnerable. So if you're looking to create connection and have an aha moment and looking for better relationships, it looks like being open to being hurt.
That's facts, yeah. That's facts. It's a leap of faith, and it's scary every time.
Every single time.
Yeah, like I'm gonna say this shit, and everything's gonna burn, and everyone's gonna leave, and then it never and then actually you get deeper
You're
in
like,
connection.
"Oh, you're still here." Like that's your face. You're like the
Now
first
what?
couple times you do it, that is your face, right? You're like, you stayed.
I'm gonna tell you something about you.
Yeah, yo, 10 stop.
You ain't shit. Oh, you still here?
Clearly why nobody's listening to you. You're not leaving. Okay, well, do you want me to explain? Like it's that space, and that space is a good space because again, you realize that person is here for more than just ego, more than just the surface level stuff. So I think that's important. All right, thank you so much for joining us. If you wanted to join our community, learn more about us, check us out, www.gettingitdaily.com. You can also find us on social media, that is Facebook and Instagram, under the name Getting It Daily. Reach out to us so we can help you.
So reach out.
Yes. Till next time, this is Coach Linden,
It's
Amy.
It's Devi.
signing off.
Peace.
Peace.